Are you ready to dive into a world of captivating stories, laughter, and enlightenment? Look no further than Unfiltered Studios, your gateway to an incredible podcasting experience. Join St. Joe on Nailed It as he explores life's victories, one nail at a time. Petals of Support brings you heartwarming tales that remind us, even in the darkest moments, there's beauty and hope. Get ready to be entertained by the wit and humor of The Sleevey G Show, where interviews are always fascinating. Need a good laugh? Tune in to Refiltered, our comedy podcast that's sure to tickle your funny bone. Discover inner peace and guidance on Finding Your Way, a spiritual podcast that nurtures your soul. Relax your mind and body with Hypno Wellness, your path to a healthier, more balanced life. Love movies? Movie Lovers Unite is your passport to a world of cinematic wonders. Immerse yourself in the magic of storytelling, laughter, and enlightenment as you're taken on a journey through the fascinating realm of movies and television. And don't forget the Stupid History Minute, where we uncover the quirkiest stories of everyday items. Unfiltered Studios is your destination for diverse, engaging content. Subscribe now and join the podcasting revolution. Unfiltered Studios, where every story finds its voice. Visit unfpod.com today.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Refiltered. Glad that you're here. If you're new to the program, Refiltered is where we serve up a lot of nonsense, but in kind of the best possible way. As always, my name is the Kep. To take you through this kind of wild ride of crazy stuff. Listen, whether you're a longtime listener or stumbled upon us just now, I am ecstatic to have you here, and I want you to get ready for some seriously unserious discussions, and maybe we'll make you smile today. So I want you to sit back, I want you to relax, I want you to put on your traveling gear, prepare to dive kind of headfirst into another episode here. I am glad you're here. Now, that all being said, folks, the holidays are approaching. And do I have the perfect gift idea for you? It's the Stupid History book written by yours truly. Now, this book, it takes you on a journey of everyday items and reveals their fascinating, often ridiculous histories. It's the ideal mix of education and entertainment. So whether you're shopping for a history buff, a curious friend, or anyone in between, this book will bring smiles and laughter. I want you to make your holiday shopping easy and memorable with the Stupid History book. Get it today at stupidhistory.net or online at Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Trust me, it's a gift that keeps on giving. It's a Stupid History book written by Kev Pound, that's me. It's the perfect holiday gift for all ages. I don't want you to miss out, and grab your copy now. That being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in last week to the top 10 comedy bits, and this is a different type of episode. What do you think? I didn't have a guest. I had 11 guests. Eddie Murphy, Robin Williams, George Carlin, Bill Burr, Mitch Hedberg. Just to name a few, about half of them. It was a lot of fun. I got a lot of good feedback from you guys on the DMs and on the Twitter, so I appreciate that. But we have a great guest this week. My guest this week is a former correctional officer. She stands at 5'4" and 115 pounds. No, this is not a boxing match. She defies all expectations with her strength and resilience. Despite her personal battles, she is a passionate advocate for mental health awareness. What truly sets her apart is her remarkable ability to find humor in life's darkest moments. The superpower she employs to inspire and uplift others. Now, how many times have you heard me on this program tell you people about the healing power of laughter. How many times? She is dedicated to destigmatizing mental health issues, believing that open conversations can improve relationships and change lives. Ladies and gentlemen, that term is used very loosely. Please welcome Emily B.
Emily B. Yeah, you can call me that.
How are you?
I'm okay. Actually, I'm excited to be here. This is my first time ever being a guest on a podcast, and it's so
Oh,
nice.
yeah?
It's so nice to meet you, honestly. It's so
Me
nice to
too.
meet you, and just chat with somebody brand spanking new.
Yeah, and we're going country to country. We're international tonight.
Yeah, international, baby. That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, we're international. Now, I feel that I need to tell you the rules of the show first. Being
Probably.
okay, so the rules are there really are no rules. There's no censorship here. There's no we use the F word pretty loosely around here. Um, but there's no the only thing we believe in a very simple principle that you should be able to say whatever you want whenever you want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody, you
I
know.
agree.
So again, I'm sure you read up on me. I'm kind of unoffendable unless you're going to talk junk about the Atlanta Braves, the Florida Gators, or the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, it's a good
know.
thing I don't know anything about any of those.
Okay,
Wouldn't know
but
better than-
you are in Canada, correct?
That's right. So I'm in the province of Ontario. And believe it or not, I have to say province because I've traveled before and I've had people say to me, are you from Australia? And I say, no, the province of Ontario. Well, what's a province? People don't really know what that means. But yeah, I guess you would know. Obviously, you're not that far from me. We're kind of side by each, but I'm in southern Ontario in a small town. So about 3,000 people.
So how far from, like, say, Toronto are you?
From the big city, about an hour. It's really not that far, but I don't make it down there too often. The drive it stresses me out. I'll say that.
Okay, what's the temperature up there right now?
Today was like a brisk 7, like a brisk 7 degrees. Yeah, and it snowed actually. So just before I came on here with you, it started snowing, like a wet snow. If you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean?
So it's 7 degrees.
Yes.
Like as in under
Celsius.
10 degrees. Oh, Celsius. So it's like Fahrenheit would be what, 40?
Oh, shoot. You've already, you know what? We're like, what, 2 minutes in? I've already been stumped. I don't know the conversion.
Yeah. Well, I think 32 is 0. So
Okay.
you're 7 above that. So yeah, roughly 40, right?
Yeah. I'm not a mathematician, but that sounds about right.
Yeah, it'd be like these fucking Americans. They always got to be different with their damn Fahrenheit.
I just don't get it. I don't get
it. Yeah, down here in the United States. Yeah, I got we have a number of listeners that think that every time that I do a voice, it's that voice, and it's like no matter where you live, because I like to make fun of the people of Tennessee a lot. And
same here, and I've never been. I don't know anyone from there, and I just feel like shouldn't have the privilege, but I do it anyways. It's so fun.
I was just there in July, and there's all kinds of nonsense going on there. I mean,
I bet.
Yeah, there's all kinds of nonsense going there. I mean, this dude had like a Red Bull, right? And
Yes.
you know how the cans are like slender, a Red Bull, like the energy drink.
They're
right?
Skinny cans. Yeah, they're very skinny for a can.
Well,
yes.
Well, he didn't open it like normal people. He turned it to the side. He poked a hole in it, and he shotgunned a Red Bull like that. And I'm like, dude, you're gonna have a heart attack. And he's like, this how we drink Red Bull down here in Tennessee. I don't know how you guys be doing it in Florida, when you just get around to it, because everybody thinks, Floridians, there's no laws down here, so we just do what we want whenever we want.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
We're just, wearing our flip-flops, eating cheeseburgers in the sand, but,
yeah, I get it.
But yeah, the people of Tennessee, they're up there, up there with their moonshine, and all that good stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Is that's not that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. I've
that's
totally
Texas. Yeah, that's Texas. That's a whole
listen.
nother comedy set over there.
Yeah, you know what? Also not great with geography. Just want to point that out.
Well, Canada is north of the United States.
That's good to know.
You know where it's colder. I just reason I asked you how cold it was there. It's like 85 here.
Oh, a brisk
Like
85.
80, 85 Fahrenheit. So I don't know how much that is in Celsius. It's probably like 60.
It
You know,
sounds hot. If it's 80, it sounds hot.
it's shorts weather.
Shorts weather. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
not here. Well, maybe for some, but yeah, not so much here.
Well, not if it's 7.
No, not when it's 7.
You know. So, I was looking at your TikTok.
Okay,
Okay.
here we go. Here we
And
go.
so I'm 48 years old. Okay. So TikTok to me is kind of like what the young people use, but I've been trying to use it because um, every time, here, I'll just tell you a story.
Okay.
We were putting like we're part of a group called Unfiltered Studios, and Unfiltered Studios has a TikTok page, right?
Okay.
So we were putting like stupid videos on there. Well, we put one on there, and it got like 8.7 million hits.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, and we don't know how we did it. We just, because you read all these things, there's like a certain time of day, and you
There's
got to put it. We just put it on there and put some funny music to it,
yeah.
and we don't even know. So ever since then, it's about a year ago. Ever since then, we've been trying to recreate it, and everything's getting like 200, 300, and
Yes, I don't get it either. There's some sort of algorithm I've been seeing people talk about, an algorithm of some sort. Again, that sounds very mathy to me. Like I said before, math not my strong suit.
right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know how to spell algorithm. Um, so I'm not a big. I don't know what to follow with it. I know that there's some sort of formula that you should
Right.
follow that the kids tell me. I try to get my kids to do it, but my kids don't think I'm funny. They
I
think
hear
I'm
you.
dad.
Dad's not
So
funny. Dad's never
yeah.
funny.
Oh no, he's not. He's not funny until I write a book and tell them that every penny's going to their college education, and then they're interested.
Yeah, then
Um,
it's kind of funny, but still not.
right, where they can open the book and find out the ultimate history of a paperclip.
Right, and it
Um,
helps if they can read. Sorry,
yeah.
continue.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, but on your TikTok,
Yes.
you do kind of daily shorts. Why don't you talk about what you're trying to accomplish with your TikTok? Because I think you're trying to accomplish something.
I would say so, yeah. Daily shorts for the most part. I like to keep it short and sweet, mostly because I'm a scatterbrain. So if I did anything longer than 30 seconds, it wouldn't make sense. So that's basically why I do these shorts. And it's just informational. It's just to spread awareness because I feel like a lot of people just don't know, you know what I mean, about mental disorders, mental health, um, how to curb those depressed moments. I'm just here to provide that information, everything that I've learned over the course of, let's say, the last decade, and especially the last 5 years with all the traumatic incidents from work. I've been doing therapy like twice a week. And so I just want to share everything I'm learning. So I guess that's the gist of it. And then with a bit of a comedic twinge because I mean, I don't want to make everybody sad.
Right, right. Like I said in the opening, I've said more than 50 times on this program and the over 100 episodes that we have
Yeah.
that there is a healing power to laughter. When I started podcasting in 2018, every property that I've been on, the one main goal was to make people have either escape their day or put a smile on their face or
Yeah.
just bring kind of a lighter because as adults we deal with a lot of shit, and
Yeah.
there has to be some sort of release from that.
I'd like to touch on that just very briefly about
Sure.
what you said about like laughter through trauma, laughter through the hard times. I'm a huge advocate for that as well. But I will say, so I admitted myself to treatment over a year ago for alcoholism. And in the treatment center, I was making jokes. I was laughing about some of the traumas that I had. And the counselors told me, don't laugh at those things. Don't make jokes about those things. And I didn't understand. And so I stopped, like, for the time that I was there or whatever. And it didn't make sense to me personally because laughter has helped me so, so much through so many hard times. And so, one thing I want to say, I suppose, is that we get a lot of information in life from different people, from all around, all kinds of sources. But whatever feels best for you, whatever feels best for me, so laughter, I'm going to do that. No matter what a counselor tells me, no matter what a program tells me, you know what? Sorry, do you know what I'm trying to say?
I
I feel
do.
like I'm rambling.
No, you're good. No, I do. I think that laughter can give an escape. I always laugh when people go to a comedy club and get mad at something that the comic says. I'm like,
Mhm.
why'd you come? What
Right.
did you, yeah, why did you come?
Yeah.
Um,
I don't get that either. That actually is a huge pet peeve of mine.
yeah,
Like all the hecklers out, like the ones that are heckling for the purpose of ruining the show. That I don't
right,
get.
right. I don't know a comic that isn't ready for people like that. You know,
Good.
so there, and 9 times out of 10, I think being especially stand up, not so much. I call comedians that are on podcasts sit down comedians, but but when you're at stand up and it's number one, it's not easy. I mean, you're up there all alone with something that you wrote that you're trying to make it funny for other people who aren't in your head.
Yeah.
I've said many times that when I stopped trying to entertain an audience and started to trying to entertain myself,
Mm.
it opened up the world to me. It's kind of like
Yeah.
salespeople when the old adage in sales is that you can't sell anything that you don't believe in. Well,
Makes
I think you can't take a joke that you don't believe. You can't tell a joke that you don't believe in. So it really um, matters, what's funny to you, But
yeah.
as to the hecklers, people up on stage, they're ready for them, and they're probably a ton more quick witted than the people who are, drinking half a bottle of Jack Daniels, sitting down in the,
Yeah.
in the crowd, just wanting to. I The joke between comics is that people who heckle comics weren't hugged as a child. They didn't get enough attention.
Yeah.
Their mother doesn't love them, and sometimes we tell them that. Hey,
And
we're
they should
sorry that.
know it, and they
Yeah,
should know it as fact. Hmm?
yeah. I've told a heckler before. I said, I'm sorry that your mother didn't love you. It's not my problem. Shut the fuck up. You know.
Sorry.
You know. That,
You're
that,
like,
that,
yeah, one of my finer moments.
so, but I alluded to earlier that you were a correctional officer
Yes.
for
Yeah.
5 years.
Yes, for 5 very long years.
Can you share some of your experiences? I'm sure you have a highlight reel.
There is a bit of a highlight reel. I mean, there's more funny moments, arguably, than there are terrible moments, but only because of my own perspective. And then a lot of therapy. So, but I think over the last 5 years, a
Ha- ha-
highlight reel.
Real,
I mean,
real, real quick,
I
real
pepper sprayed
quick.
myself in the face. That happened.
You
That's
pepper sprayed yourself in the face.
Yeah, that happened one time.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I mean that makes the top of the highlight reel. Sorry, I feel like you had another question.
Yeah. Well, before you get into that, I was saying, how did you become a correctional officer?
That's the best question because the answer sucks. That's why. That doesn't make any sense. That's the best question because the answer sucks. I finished university. You know how everyone says, go to university, you'll get a job after, no problem. That doesn't happen.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
no jobs.
Right.
So I finished university. I'm racking up the debt. I see a government job available, correctional officer. I'm like, hey, cool. Something I can do so I can help people. And in lies the
Right.
irony. In lies the irony. Uh, that's not what it's all about. But that's how I got the job. I saw an advertisement on Go Jobs. That's the
Okay.
government Ontario jobs website.
Go Jobs.
Go Jobs. Woo. Like Go Jobs. You know what I mean?
So you became a correctional officer after couldn't find a job after college, or as you guys call it, university.
It's a
And
cool story, honestly. But it doesn't get much more exciting than that. But yeah,
did the person interviewing you, like, did you interview in person?
yes, it was. So this was pre-COVID. This was
Right.
so 5 years ago. This was pre-COVID, and so I did work during the pandemic, and that's a whole other biatch of its own. That was terrible. Um, but yeah, it was an interview in person, and I remember them saying to me too. They're like, "You should be really proud of yourself. There was a lot of competition," and you know what? I probably shouldn't say anything else because it just didn't feel like it. You know,
So did they not say anything about you being 5'4"?
they said nothing. No, I
Okay.
think I think they wanted to hire females. I really
Okay.
do. I feel that way. Um, I mean, I have some schooling in the background, so maybe that
Right.
helped a little bit, but they didn't say boo to me like, "Hey, maybe not for you. Maybe not."
What was your specific job as a correctional officer? Were you like the guy that, like the person who like guarded the murderers, or?
Honestly, yeah. So I
Okay.
worked on yeah, so I worked on a unit, um, approximately 200 males, and it would range from anywhere to petty theft up to first degree murder. All those people were living in the same sort of area together, and I was to take care of them on that unit. So remand meaning they're just waiting sentencing.
Okay. So it wasn't a pretrial facility, was it? Like it was.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, pre-trial, pre-sentencing. So if they got sentenced to something less than 2 years, they would just stay because it's provincial. But if it
Okay.
was something like they got sentenced to like life, they would go to a federal facility.
Okay. So, um, I'm trying to word this question to where it not only you don't get mad at me,
I
that
never would.
my listeners out there won't get mad at me, because they get mad at me a lot.
Oh, they
Um,
shouldn't. They shouldn't. You're such a great guy.
how did you manage your duties as a correctional officer at your stature?
Humor,
Okay.
believe it or not. Like that's the one word answer is just humor. And they appreciated it quite a bit considering the negative environment. So there was a lot of nicknames going on, uh, them calling me nicknames, me calling them certain things, a lot of joking. They would scare me nonstop. Like it wasn't after a while, I was like, guys, I'm seriously gonna have a heart attack because I'm very easily startled. And they would like hide and scare me on night shift. It became a bit of a thing. You know what? It became a problem.
Okay. Okay. Um, so I'm gathering, because when I read up on you, you I would gather you have a personal journey dealing with mental health, right?
Yes.
As you called, you said that you were dealing with some PTSD.
Yes.
Is that because of the correctional job, or?
So, yes,
Okay.
many things happen there. So, I guess I should start sort of from the beginning, but I'll
Okay.
keep it short.
No,
I
I
was
mean, I don't have anywhere to go.
well, neither do I, and this is perfect. Okay. Well, no, I was just gonna say, just to keep it short though, like growing up, I was super sheltered. So I grew up in a Christian home. I went to church every Sunday. I went to Sunday programs like church camp. I played in a Christian hockey league, all these kind of things. I didn't think evil or bad existed in the world. And so getting into corrections for 5 years really shook up everything for me, if that makes sense.
Sure.
It's hard for people to conceptualize because we're all raised differently. So some people are excellent at the job because they were raised with a hard life, maybe a single parent, maybe no parents. I wasn't raised like that. I was very sheltered. So when I got into corrections, I was like, what is happening? Like, it's a whole other world in there. And it was a culture shock for me.
Wow.
Where was I going with this? Sorry, like honestly, like the PTSD and everything, my memory, I forget what I'm talking about half the time.
So,
So please.
I had asked you that if the PTSD, which apparently yes, was derived from the correctional job.
100%. Yeah. The amount of
Okay.
violence that I witnessed and was subject to was unfavorable. I would never ask for that ever again. I would never, wish that upon anybody. I've separated some ribs. I've been assaulted, spat at, sexually assaulted. Like so many different things have happened to me over the last 5 years working at that prison with zero support. Yeah, that'll traumatize anybody, I think.
So I'm gathering you don't work there anymore.
No, I
Okay.
don't work there anymore. No, I left. I left on a stress leave and I'm permanently gone. I don't know what is in store now, but right now, raising awareness about mental health is my main priority. But also, like your podcast, putting a funny spin onto things because not everything needs to be so dark.
Me and you have something in common. I grew up in going to religious school, youth group every Sunday, Christian home. I don't want to say that I can't say that I was sheltered because it's just probably just a different part of the world.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Again, we have no laws in Florida, so but I will say for a long time that I was naive. And
Right.
when I say naive, believing things because they were told that that's what I should believe, right?
100%. Yeah.
And now I dare I say I'm cynical, towards that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It
Because
happens.
of the way I don't want to say it was shoved down my throat, but it was just, hey, we've always believed this. This is what you should believe, and if you don't, you're bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, there's a document up there in Washington that says I can think what I want, and
Right?
so
Yeah. No, exactly. I hear
um,
you.
yeah, so I totally get the not in my case not so much sheltered, but I was definitely naive to
Right.
where I mean I went to a school for 8 years that had one African American person in it, and then went from there to public school to where it was majority not white.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah, that
know,
happened to me too when I went to university. So I'm from a small town, it's all white people. And then I went to university in Toronto and I was the minority, sorry. Um, Minority student rather.
right.
And it was a huge culture shock, but I thought it was amazing. Like it was an incredible opportunity to learn about all the other different cultures. But yeah, it's just bizarre because it just shocks you. It really does because it's more than what you ever learned or knew or believed growing up, and then you're thrown into a new environment. And it's like, whoa, there's way more than I ever thought there was.
Um, my next question is: there are a number of listeners out there that are not going to let you get off without asking this. I can hear them right now screaming, "Hey, ask the question!"
All
Um,
right.
and I think at this point we probably know the answer to. But what inspired you Let's see if I can word this one right. What inspired you to become a, dare I say, advocate for mental health awareness?
Aw. I like that question. That's a really sweet question, and I feel like I'm gonna cry while answering it, but I hope that's okay because this is
Don't cry.
refiltered. Oh,
Yeah.
don't cry. Okay. What inspired me to be a mental health advocate?
You know what? I don't think we've ever had anybody cry on this show, and
Really?
there, but
I
there,
might be
but
the first.
okay. So there, I got to tell you this real quick, and I've
Okay,
got
tell
this
me.
question here. I got to tell you this real quick. The two times that I thought somebody was going to cry on this show
Okay.
is the first time we had a lady on. I used to have a co-host, and we had a lady on that had had a near-death experience,
Yeah.
and like thought she like, or maybe she did, I don't know, who knows, thought she had gone to hell, right? And she had told me that God wasn't made in all our image, like the Bible says that
Right.
everybody was God. And so then I said, so under that rationale, I'm God. And she said, yes. And I said, well, can you tell my wife that? And
Sorry.
and that was the first time. And then the second time is we had a lady on here who wrote a book about Trump, right?
Oh, my
And
favorite. CAG
and
2024.
and she said that Trump had like a high moral ground, and my co-host at the time uh, didn't appreciate that at all. He's like, look, I like Trump, but you can't say the guy's got a high moral ground, you know. And it got a little tense there for a second. Everybody was like
That's the
yelling at
worst.
me. They're like, Kev, why didn't you stop that? I'm like, I'm letting that go.
Hell yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
I
We go,
love when things get
we go.
awkward.
Yeah, So anyhow, so what inspired you to become an advocate for mental health awareness?
Okay, so thank you for giving me a little bit of time to actually think about it.
Oh, you're good.
I think in working with so many people and feeling so alone in the workplace, and then afterwards as well, I wanted other people not to feel alone. And so I haven't personally seen, I know there's tons of mental health advocates out there. I haven't personally seen anybody that try to make it a little lighter. Um, I just want to be real and authentic. It's also part of my own healing journey, too. Just talking about my own personal struggles actually helps me. And so if it helps other people, all the better. So I would say that's the main reason. Helping me, helping others. You know what I mean?
So I'm gonna fumble this. So I don't have this written down or anything. But so
That's
do you believe that raising awareness about mental health can improve people's like relationships with others or
yes.
themselves?
Yes. And so let me just talk about the relationships with others piece instead
Okay.
of just the relationship with self, because that's a never ending journey.
Okay.
Um, I have found in relaying information, in speaking my truth, in speaking everything that's happened to me, I have noticed other people having light bulb moments, being like, hey, I've experienced that too. Thank you for sharing. Um, what the fuck was I just talking about? What was your question?
Eh, like raising awareness, can that help people's
Yes.
relationships with others?
Okay. Sorry. So
No, you're good.
one of
I'm glad to see that that happens to not only anybody but me, because I'll be going off on a tangent and
all the
totally
time.
forget what I'm talking about.
It's literally the worst. Honestly, I hate that it happens, but I really appreciate that you're just like, no problem. Here we're
Yeah.
like we were right here. So, in my own personal relationship, I noticed that talking about my experience helps them understand. And then with a mutual understanding of what's going on, it just makes the relationship better. There's just no way that communication doesn't make the relationship better. There's no way that explaining something to somebody and helping them understand, like, hey, I'm acting crazy right now because I was triggered because this happened, helps them understand and be there for me and can help them be there for other people and be less judgmental. I'm really sick of the judgment, even though I'm super judgy. I judge all the time. I'm a huge people watcher. But I'm just saying the judgment surrounding mental health without the pre-knowledge disgusts me. Like, I'm just happy that I can at least spread what I know from personal experience, and then also education and learning. But yeah, I think it's invaluable in mending and strengthening relationships. Did that make any sense?
Oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
So this is probably a loaded question, but what you talked about judging people, and I think there's two types of judging.
Okay.
I think there's fun judging, and I think there's
Fudging.
mean judging. And what I mean by fun judging is saying like stereotypically judging, like all women can't drive, you know,
Yeah.
or
Guilty.
all men are pigs, you know, or things of that nature, or like in my house we love to play a game called What's for Dinner, you know, and just my wife just refuses to make a fucking decision, and but then there's mean judging to
Yeah.
where you know, oh, this person, you know, I hate it when somebody loses their temper and then they'll be like, that person's bipolar. Well, what if they are? You're gonna feel really bad. You're
Thank
gonna
you.
feel really bad, you know, if they are, because not only is that, you know, a mental health issue, it's borderline, like you wouldn't make fun of somebody if they had cancer.
No, and that's the thing too, Keb, about mental health is it's not anyone's fault. It's like a disease. It's like something that you're born with. And even if you're not born with it and it happens later in life, it's not something that you can help. And so I want people to know that as well, that there's a reason. So there's this book that I don't know if maybe it was like Oprah or somebody, I'm not really sure. But the title of the book I think is the most important part. And it's called What Happened to You? Question mark. And
Okay.
basically, that's the question that I want people to ask when they see someone acting a little crazy or a little different, right? But it's like, what happened to you? Why are you acting that way? You must have had a trauma. Something must have happened that we don't know about. So this prejudgment, the prejudice, that's kind of what I want to help eliminate.
What Happened to You? The book is by Bruce D. Perry.
Bruce D. Perry, yes, and then Oprah, I
Yes.
guess, was interviewing him or vice versa.
So if any listeners out there want to go and get that book, if you fancy a read right after you're done with the stupid history book, you can go over there and get that. It's called What Happened to You. So what kind of along the lines of what we're talking about here, I'm sure, and I'm sure you see it all the time, being a mental health advocate. What are some of the misconceptions about mental health disorders that you've seen?
I just see a lot of mislabeling happening. I see a lot of mislabeling happening. I see a lot of people diagnosing other people, and that is something that I want to
Now,
cease.
saying like that, like that person's crazy. That Karen went off into Walmart.
Yeah,
You know that person's crazy. I mean,
right.
what's crazier, the lady that goes off in Walmart or the person walking down the road naked? You know,
Who's to say?
right?
Who's to say? Sometimes I think the naked person's probably a little more normal. Honestly, I'd probably rather spend more time with them. But that being said, that being said, um, that being said, I don't remember what you just said.
Some of the misconceptions that
It's the it's the diagnosing that's really driving me nuts, honestly. It's
okay,
like you said before, like that chick's bipolar. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that, especially in the workplace.
right,
Yeah, that chick's crazy. You're bipolar, you're borderline, all this kind of stuff. Well, do we really know what that means? You
right.
know? Do we really know what it means to be bipolar? Do we know what all the criteria are? Do we know in the diagnostic and statistical manual of mental health disorders, do we know the definition and does that person fit? Have they been psychiatrically evaluated? Like that bothers me a lot.
And you know, if people don't understand something, in my opinion, they should shut the fuck up.
Well, yeah.
Um, you know,
That's what I'm saying.
so I got to tell you this.
Mhm.
On this
Lay it
program, keep in mind I'm a comedian. So on this program, I have been quoted. I'm quite certain that somebody could tell me the episode or episodes that I've said this, but
Okay.
it's going back on that stereotyping. What I have said in the past, and I say it to my wife all the time. I say that when somebody goes, "Well, that chick is crazy," or something like that, I'll say, "Hey, look, all women are crazy. It's just whether they're crazy is at a manageable level. For that matter, all people are crazy. It's just whether they're crazy is at a manageable level." Because I've also been quoted on this program by saying, if I get a terminal illness, there's some people that need to worry,
Right.
and so it's whether they're at a manageable level. When it becomes unmanageable, that's when it doesn't become funny anymore.
Right. That's when
And
it's concerning. And then we're like, okay, something else needs to be done here. Obviously, jokes need to be like no more jokes. Something needs to be done.
right,
Clearly.
what are some signs to that the normal Joe like me who takes very little very seriously, and tries to make a joke out of everything because I
And I
believe
appreciate
I don't think, in my opinion, there is no line in the sand.
it.
There's nothing. I can make a joke about everything. I choose not to sometimes, but I don't get mad at people who do, and sometimes laugh at things that I probably shouldn't laugh at, but they're funny and they're meant to
Well,
be a joke.
brings me to a question actually for you, even
Okay,
though you're interviewing me. I
no,
actually have a question
it's
for
all good.
you. Well, how do you feel about the whole movement? Because this bothers me a lot too. Like someone who's interested in getting into stand-up comedy,
Yeah.
how do you feel about the whole social movement of everything is somewhat censored now? Like you can't really say much. Like I'm a little bit worried about words I use. Like the other day was like friggin' idiot. And my dad's like, you can't say idiot. And it's like, what? I can't say idiot? Like, can I say that?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You can
Okay.
say whatever the hell you want to on this program.
Oh,
Um,
alrighty then.
I don't call people freaking idiots. I've often on this program called my listeners fucking idiots,
Much better.
and
Mm,
and no, you're talking to a guy who has based his stand up and comedy career about 80% making fun of religious people. So
thank you
so,
for your
so
work.
yeah, I don't think anything is off limits. I have made fun. I'll tell you one thing that a joke that people hate, and I don't know if I've ever told it on this program because I haven't told it on stage in years
I
because
feel so
this
special.
this one kind of got me in a little trouble. Okay, so
Here we go.
when I was in high school, I was on the swim. I was on a couple sports teams, but this particular thing happened on the swim team. And
Okay.
before you have an event, you're up there at the starting blocks and you're next to the other people that you're swimming against and all this. Well, it was districts in high school, and there is a school that we were swimming against called the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind. And the joke goes, those kids who go to that school are fucking assholes because I was next to a guy and I said, "Hey, good luck," and he totally ignored me. You know, see, it's funny. But
what,
but
what a dick.
some people do not like that joke, and then some people don't get it, and you have to explain to them, hey, the
Oh,
the kid was deaf. I mean, you gotta. I
evil.
hate explaining jokes to people.
Unfortunately, I'm one of those people that's like, you kind of have to explain it sometimes, but I got that one.
Yeah. So, and it's a timing joke. You got to watch what kind of crowd that you that's would be my advice to people who
Right.
who do stand up. I actually we the show is friendly with another comedian that's in Toronto. That's why I asked you how close to Toronto you are.
Okay. Okay, not far,
Um,
yeah.
and he does a little stand up, but he morely is on TikTok and he is what I would consider a big time sit down comedian.
Should I follow him? What is his
And
name? Who is this
his
person?
his name is Brad Goss, and he's been on this program twice.
Okay, Brad Goss. Alrighty.
Yeah, he writes very inappropriate children's books. You'll love him. And I bought one called Religion. It's called Religion and the spooky stories they tell to scare people, or something like that.
Amazing. So don't buy that for my mother.
I would don't buy them for children either. You know, I mean, don't. They
Just
are
don't buy them.
no. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that because they are entertaining, but they are
No, I'm
just.
interested. I'm
If
interested.
you are easily offended, it is not a good. Yeah, a good. Just follow him on TikTok. He reads his books on TikTok and stuff.
God, gosh,
So
I'm interested. No, thank you for mentioning that. I really appreciate it. I'm always interested in finding, new comedians and things like that. Yeah, I
yeah,
feel like there's a shortage.
he's funny. I think he's got a couple million followers.
Good for him.
Yeah, something like that.
Good for
A
him.
couple, a million. But let me ask you this:
Okay.
at this point, do you consider yourself a comedian?
No, not even close. No, I consider
Why
myself
not?
because I mean, like, I'm naturally funny, but I've never done stand up. I've never performed. Um, I don't know. I feel, what's funny? Actually, I Googled the other day. I was like, what, at what point could I be what could I be a comedian? Like, what time? What needs to happen for that to and I heard maybe 10 years of stand up, at the minimum. What are your thoughts on that?
I think, in my opinion, once you have the, excuse the term, cojones to get up on stage at an open
Oh,
mic and put a mic in your hand and tell people jokes that you wrote down,
right.
I think that makes you a comedian.
Okay. I agree.
I think it is the one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people I talk. There are two things that happen when people find out that you are a comedian. Okay, and one of them is somebody will go tell a joke. So
Yeah, I've heard that. I've
I would
heard that.
have I have in my pocket at all times a very long and drawn out and stupid joke that they will never ask me to tell a joke again. Um,
That'll teach you.
Yeah, and the second one will be, who's your favorite comedian? That's a common question, and
I do get asked
if I
that.
don't say myself, but like naturally, and I can tell this about you, and I'm this way too, especially if I've had a couple drinks, that just by sheer talking with somebody in my normal conversation,
Yeah,
I will lean to making fun of things and lean to the fun just out of habit,
I hear you.
and
But
I've
it's not with
always
everybody, Keb. Like, it's not with everyone, though. Do you hear me on that?
I do it with everybody.
Okay.
Like I did it with my pastor. I did it with with my pastor happens to be female,
Oh,
and she's younger
diff-
than me. So
she sounds cool.
the first time I ever met her, I said, and I don't regularly attend church, so it's just in the church I grew up with. I call it my
Yeah,
mom's church. But the first time
that's
I
what I would say.
ever met her, I said, "Hey, this is the day that Gen X took over," and because everybody, you grow up in the church and you look at the pastor, it's usually this old white man
Yeah,
that is preaching down for you. You know how long it took me to figure out that that's just a guy. It's just with a different degree than everybody else. You
yeah. And
know,
he just wears the same tuxedo shirt every Sunday. It's the
yeah,
same guy. He has
yeah,
a family. He's a normal dude.
yeah. He pays taxes. Well, I mean, church doesn't pay
Yeah.
taxes, but I'm sure he has to pay.
Yeah.
He has to pay taxes on the bottle of wine that he buys. But
Yeah, fucking drunk. No, I'm
yeah,
kidding.
I mean, yeah, dude. Um, and so you know what the what gets me about, and sorry, you got me on my high horse now. What
Okay.
gets me about the church is the level of hypocrisy, because I was in a bar at 1:30 in the morning one time, and here strolls in like four elders of the church.
Really?
They can never yell at me,
No,
for doing that, because I have kind of a reputation of doing what I want when I want.
I like
And
that.
Yeah, and
I like
so
that.
the going back to the judgmental thing. But anyhow, so back to my original question: why don't you consider yourself a comedian?
Yeah, what was your question in the first place? Yeah, what was your question?
See, I told you I could take it to left field real quick.
I know, but you know my memory's bad already. I told you this, so now I'm already confused. But
So
maybe
you want to try stand up?
I'd like to give it a chance. I'd like to give it a chance. I consider myself a bit of a Jim Carrey. I like to do like the voices, the faces, the movements. Maybe not now in this like interview because I'm in interview mode,
Right.
but on stage, I would love to do something like that. But I mean, I just don't know how to get my foot in the door. Um,
Well,
that's
do you have a comedy club where you're at?
not where I'm at. No, so I would have to travel. I used to fit. Oh, sorry. So you're from Florida. Toronto definitely has a
Yeah.
comedy
Oh
club
yeah.
where I could go to for sure.
Oh yeah. I could find out which one very easily.
And we shall chat. And currently, though, I will tell you, I'm writing jokes. I need 10. So I'm working with a comedian. I'm working on 10 30-second jokes. I'm only on joke number 4. I have a million ideas. But I don't know if you're like this. I have a million ideas. I write them down in like my phone, my
Yeah.
notes, audio record them. There's just too much. I need to organize it.
Yeah. I use the notes. I my rule on myself is to whether it's dumb or not, to write one joke every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my goal. Sometimes I hit it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't write any. Some days I write 10. You know. Um,
Now, do you think there's a formula? Because I've been doing my research as well, because I'm a super nerd. I'll mention that as well.
okay.
So I love research. So is there a formula to joke writing?
Yes, it's set up and punch. That's it. I mean, some people will say I'm more of a storyteller.
Yeah,
So they're different type. I don't think there's different formulas for a joke. I think it's all setup and punch. It's just whether how long the setup's going to be. The
right,
longer the setup, the better the punch needs to be.
right,
But like if you're telling story jokes, not to get too much inside the business, but you're going to want a laugh break once every 20 or 30 seconds.
okay,
So you don't want to let the audience go that long without a joke break.
right.
That's the only. I'm not a big fan of open mics, but that's the only good that I see out of open mic because you could go and to an open mic and you could practice these jokes, and 9 times out of 10, everybody in the audience is going to be another comic waiting for their turn.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah, that's so
so
interesting that you say that because I never even really because I went to a stand-up show a few days ago, Saturday.
yeah,
Turned out not to be a stand-up show. It wasn't a stand-up show. It was a magic show.
okay,
But but that's exactly what was happening. I was sitting there wanting to see the comedians, thinking about, is this something I could do?
yeah.
That's exactly what was happening.
Well, magicians are comics that aren't funny, and that's what happens when you turn. With all due respect, I don't know a comedian, this one included, that hasn't
Why did
tried his
that
hand at magic. Because it's true. The funniest things in life are true. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh shit.
but I got some magician friends. I used to be a member of the First Coast Magicians Club here.
Shut up.
I did until I figured out that, it's kind of like my wife would kill it because she's a teacher, but it's kind of like the term "those who can't do teach." Well, those who can't tell jokes do magic.
Magic.
And I'm not the only person that thinks that.
Yeah, I could
I
ride
didn't
that
come
train. Yeah.
I didn't come up with that on my own, but so
Regardless,
what
funny.
kind of jokes are you writing?
Mostly about my mom, honestly, because
Stick with what you know.
our relationship is funny, but she's also just funny on her own, like her mannerisms. Like, so for example, we were in the Dominican for a family trip, and there's 3 girls. She has 3 girls, 3 kids. Well, 4 kids, 1 boy, but we always say he's adopted. So she says to me, she goes, Emily, the girls and I were not wearing makeup on the trip. We're just not wearing makeup. And I said, okay. no problem. Like, what? Like, I don't care. I'll do whatever I want to do. Well, maybe just a lipstick and a mascara. Maybe a little bit of blush. Like, that's just the way she is. She makes up a rule for herself and then immediately breaks it.
Yeah, that's it's called parenting. You know, the do as I say, not as I do.
Literally. Yeah.
Kind of deal.
So she's funny like that.
So, are you keeping your eyes open and writing down things that you see, and maybe you could think of a punch later, or
I'm keeping a lot of notes, and then just talking with a fellow comedian because there's another thing that she does. She likes to one up. She likes to one up me with everything, but mostly like ailments.
okay.
So if I said like, I have like a tickle in my throat or whatever, well, you wouldn't believe my cough last night. I had leprosy last night, and it's like, okay.
What's funny about that is everybody has that person in their life, and they can relate to that. I mean, if you call somebody and you got a little sniffle, and and then they're like, well, you got a sniffle. Well, I have prostate cancer.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe what I've been dealing with, and it's just like, alrighty then, why did I call?
Right.
You know? So yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on. Mostly jokes about that. I'm not really going to lean towards the jail so much, mostly because I'm worried about it. So I probably shouldn't make jokes about it. But mostly that, a little bit about my mental health and how it's affected every relationship I've ever been in.
So let's talk about that for a second. What's funny about mental health?
The stigma, and it's funny because I try to break the stigma, but I know it's there. I know it exists, and I also am part of it. Like,
right.
I totally overreact sometimes, all the time, with whatever, like with my boyfriend or whatever. Like, I overreact constantly, and so I'll talk about that. And it's a stigma, like, every girl is crazy. All girlfriends are crazy. It's that kind of stigma that we could joke about, but I could also inform in the comedy a little bit. So that's kind of also another avenue I wanted to test out, is like giving information while joking about it at the same time. Why am I holding a remote? Sorry.
Maybe you're gonna change the channel. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this.
yeah. Fuck this guy.
Yeah, this guy sucks. No, I'm kidding. Keb, you're amazing.
One. If you're not, I have a big saying that, and it's not my saying, I ripped it off from somewhere, but if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And when it comes to stereotyping, I'm damn sure part of the problem. And and so the other day, and I can't remember if I told this the other day on In the Car with Kev or not, so if I'm going to regurgitate a joke because I'm thinking about it. But the other day, I'm getting gas at a gas station, and I looked at what I'm paying for the gas, thinking it's going to be like $3.50 or something like that, and it was $2.99. And I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? The person who is making the gas prices has to be a woman because they can't make up their fucking mind, and that's the stigmatism. My wife likes to do these things called trap questions, and a lot of people ask me, they're like, what's a trap question? It's like, here's a trap question: how do these pants look? Nope, not answering it. No, nope. Because if I go the positive way, then you might not agree with me because you hate the pants. You wanted me to say that you didn't like the pants. I'm just not going to answer it. I'm going to continue to sit here and watch it. I think it's ultimately because women are mad that men are so easily entertained. We are simple creatures. We really are.
If you will. Yes.
Yeah, we really are. You put a ball game and give us, a Coke, and we're good.
Of Lay's chips.
Yeah.
Everything's gravy.
Yeah, and we're good. And then my wife is like, well, I get this makeup from Ulta, but I get this makeup from Sephora, and I have to go to this store to get this, and this store to get this. And I'm like, why don't you just get it all at one fucking store?
You
and then she's
can't.
like, it doesn't work that way, like that. And
Yeah,
she
Kev,
goes,
you just don't get it,
yeah, and
obviously.
she's like, well, why don't you just drink one type of beer? No, that doesn't work that way.
Oh, I see.
You
The
know,
dichotomy.
yeah, and don't get me started on shoes. Don't
I won't,
I've
but
got like
you're
4 pairs of shoes. She's got like 400.
you know what? I don't understand that either. I will say I'm on your side there. I don't have very many shoes. Ones that are comfortable that get me from A to B. That's all I really need. I don't understand the shoe thing. Maybe I'm just not normal.
Well, I think you're very normal, but the reason I did that little stereotyping thing is that the one of the oldest setups is it all derives from the concept of men are from Mars, women are from Venus. And kind of the contradictions between the two. If you look at it and you study stand up,
Yeah.
and you'll find a little bit of that in everybody's set. Somewhere
Yes.
along the line, you'll find. I mean, everybody.
Yes.
And it won't be worded that way, but it will be the comparison to where men deal with this and women deal with this, whether it be, whether it be a really really bad World War II Nazi joke like I tell, um, but or something very simple like Bill Cosby used to tell, you know,
Right.
back
Right.
before he was the bad guy.
Yeah. I do
But
notice that. I do notice that in a lot of comedy, the comparison between men and women. And it's funny because you're right, like you said before, because it's true.
yeah, and if you remember this simple concept, when I started a very popular, and after we're off the air here, I'll tell you who,
Okay.
but a very popular, a very famous comic told me early when I started doing stand up, and I was a lot more ambitious than I am now. I do it as kind of my therapy.
I like that.
Um,
Nice.
but back in the day, I wanted to be at the Comedy Store in L.A. And I thought I had enough to do it, but and then I had kids, and so I stayed put. But a very very nice, very famous comedian told me that all comedy is life exaggerated.
Hmm.
So if you and I have never forgotten that.
Life
If you
exaggerated. That's so true.
it's life exaggerated.
That's so true. That's
You
so true.
know,
Every time you look at something, Kev, and you think it's funny, do you not picture it in an obscure and ridiculous way and make it into a joke in your head? Do you not do that?
I think I think comedians, especially when you've been doing it as long as I have, um, you look at the world a different way.
Yeah.
You look for the funny. I can't tell you how many times I'll be sitting around doing whatever, and then I'll say out loud to whoever is around, I'll be like, "There's a joke here,"
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
mean, and somebody said something, and even people are going to get tired of this story, and you haven't heard it, so I'm going
I'm
to tell
listening.
you. But I've told this at least on this program 10 times. But it was such an odd thing that happened to me when we were in Tennessee. Me and my son went whitewater rafting, and this is just a good example of keeping your eyes open. Okay,
Okay.
and we GPS was. I mean, there's the backwoods of Tennessee, and we're scared we're gonna get shot or kidnapped or whatever, and we've come upon the sign on this road that said "Do not enter. Your GPS is wrong." And I looked at my son, and I was like dumbfounded, and he's like, "I guess you're not going down that road." And
Yeah.
my son's 16, and he kind of he's funny in his own right, but I mean he's
Right.
16.
Yeah.
So
What does he know?
right, and so I'm like, well, it's like basically like, what do I do? And he's like,
Yeah.
well, and my son literally goes, I suggest you find a different route,
What a
and
smartass.
I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, this is the route GPS is taking me,
The
and
computer said.
I said out loud to him, I was like, I'm shocked. And he's like, well, what are you shocked about? What, the sign? I said, no, I'm shocked because I didn't think the people in Tennessee knew what GPS was. And and that's just keeping your eye open. I told that joke in Tennessee, and
Oh, and how did that go?
oh, they loved it. They're like, yeah, I know that sign, and
I've been there once or twice.
and I think it was funny, but that's I think normal people would just been like, stupid sign, take a picture of it, put it on TikTok or whatever, or Facebook,
Right, right.
and but see how many clicks they would get. But I think in writing jokes, you got to keep your eyes open, 100% of the time.
Well, I was trying so hard. So over a year and a half ago, this is kind of like peak trauma. Totaled my car, and I
Uh-oh.
was and a pole impaled the passenger side.
Ooh.
So I made it through, no problem, unscathed, whatever. I'm in. My dad works at a truck company, so the tow truck's pulling my vehicle all completely mangled, like it's totaled, pulling it back into the lot where all the other vehicles are. And I'm like, well, nothing's funny about this, right? Like, I'm just trying to think because obviously I'm in distress. I'm like upset about it,
Sure.
obviously. And I look over and I say to my dad, and I'm like, well, uh, really like this one. Just curious what else you got on the lot. I think I'm done with it. And he's just like, are you kidding me? Like, literally, you smashed this yesterday. Yeah, I think I'm done with this one. It was great. And I'm just curious what else you have on the lot.
Right. Wow.
But it's like, it's finding, yeah, just the nugget of humor in the bad things. I don't know. That's just my philosophy. Whether it's healthy or not, I don't give a fudge. I
Right.
like it. It helps me out.
Real quick, we're kind of running out of time here.
No worries.
But what outside of doing stand up, what do you have? What's your goals for the future, aspirations, or whatever word you want to use, for your advocacy for mental health?
Well, thanks for asking, first of all.
Yeah.
So I'm halfway through a master's program for psychotherapy. So hopefully,
Nice.
yeah. So I'm hoping to help in that sense in a big way. But also, if stand up doesn't work out for me, I would love to public speak in any capacity, whether it be my main goal, I will be honest, TEDx,
Yeah.
good ideas. But yeah,
I know a guy.
I know a guy.
I
I
know a
guess we'll
guy.
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can they find you to follow you? Because I know some people out there are gonna wanna see what's up, and you may get other invites.
That's awesome, Keb.
Because of that.
Honestly, you know what? You're going to make me want to cry again because this is really
Don't
sweet.
cry.
It's a
Don't
cool
cry.
opportunity. I know. That's why my boyfriend says that. Don't.
You want to know what my dad used to say about crying? My dad used to say, my dad was born in 1934, so what'd you think he thought? But
Right.
my dad used to say, weak people cry.
Yeah, I'm very weak. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I'd come in with a broken leg. Oh, you're fine. Stop crying. Stop crying. I'll give you something to cry about. That was
I'll
my
give you
dad.
something to cry about. Exactly.
Yeah, that was my dad.
Those were the times, eh? Yeah, now
Yeah.
crying is so acceptable. So I cry 24/7. But you can find me at Blank Stare Comedy on TikTok or Instagram. I don't share my personal name, but it's Emily. Obviously, everyone knows now. But yeah, it's Blank Stare Comedy because every time I think I say something funny, people tend to just look at me like blankly. And
I think that's a great name. A Blake Stare comedy. It's very unique. A lot of people are be like, "What the hell is refiltered?" Well, I mean, if you followed us for a long time, you'd figure it out. I think that's great. Hey, I
Thanks.
want to thank you for coming on. Don't go anywhere, real quick. I've got to do it. I got to do a thing. But I want to thank you for coming on. I reserve the right to have you on again, if
Oh,
that's
Kev,
okay.
that's awesome. Thank you so much, Kev. This has been a huge pleasure. It's been so nice to meet you. You're hilarious. I love
Oh,
talking with
thank you.
you. And
Thank you.
thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, well, stay right there. Real quick, I want to remind everybody out there, it's Blank Stare Comedy. Go follow her on TikTok, people. And Instagram. Just be nice. You know, I mean, don't do your normal thing where you say you're going to go and you don't go, because it's bullshit. Anyhow, what I do want to remind you, if you haven't heard, is that I wrote a book called The Stupid History Book. It's at Amazon and at stupidhistory.net. Feel free to pick up a copy for your loved one. The history buff in your life make for a great white elephant Christmas present, Hanukkah present, Kwanzaa present. I'm running out of holidays here. What holiday are we? Halloween? That's I don't know. Anyhow, Unfiltered Studios, great group of podcasts over there. Go check them out real quick. Mondays is Nailed It. Tuesdays is Sleepy G Show along with Pedals of Support. Wednesdays is this program. Thursdays is Finding Your Way with the Beebs, and Hypno Wellness with Cindy. She's back on Wednesday. Sorry, Cindy. But we have Movie Lovers Unite. They're like 3 or 4 times a week. On Fridays, our friends over at the Two Penny Podcast, they're outside of the network, but go check out them. And every day of the week, you can listen to yours truly on the Stupid History Minute. So for Blank Stare Comedy, for my guest, Emily, my name is The Cap, and we will catch you guys next week.
This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.